as being descendants of a people from a man who parted the Red Sea, and their descendants and their ancestors fled when they were being persecuted. Okay, I got it right here.
Okay.
And also you see in this book that Babylon and Timbuktu, many places. You see it in many places. Now, Hebrew and Egypt had a connection because one of the people that supported the Israelites was Egypt. See, Egypt was trapped in the middle. They was either in the middle of the wars between Babylon and Egypt. So one side either, hey, if you help us, we'll help you. The reason why, because Israel was the most important land in the ancient times because it connected 3 continents. You can get to Europe by the way of Israel, you can get down to Africa, and you can get to Asia, right? So, but the Hebrews were so prominent and dominant at this time that in this book on page 85, there was a Greek philosopher named Strabo. Strabo says, the Greek historian and geographer Strabo in 63 BC said concerning the Jews of Cyrene, which is in Libya. Now these Jews already have gotten into all the cities, and it's hard to find a place in the habitable earth that has not omitted this tribe of men, and is not possessed by it. And it has come to pass that Egypt and Cyrene, as having the same governor, and great many other nations imitate their way of living, maintaining great bodies of these Jews in peculiar manners of privileged status, and grow up greater prosperity with them, and make use of the same laws with the nations also. So in it, the Greek is telling you that the Hebrews that are in all of these places are the most what? Influential people. That they're actually changing, and they're the privileged status of everybody else. And we're going to get into that too. But this is a must-have book. It's written by one of my teachers, Professor Windsor. Now, also in that book, you'll realize that one of the things that threw off the Europeans when they were fighting Hannibal is that they were using Hebrew dialect. So when we look at our history, we're trying to figure out, oh, the Hebrews aren't black, the Hebrews aren't this. We were a pure people and a dominant people. So what I'm addressing today is that when we are being attacked by other peoples and saying that the Israelites weren't this, or you tearing apart nations, then you tearing apart your own history. You tearing apart your own history. And there's many brothers and sisters that will teach you, and it's going around in some Israelite, some Egyptologist forums, that the Bible is created by white people. Now, you got Ashra-Kwesi, he'll tell you that it's Western philosophy. Now, I respect the man of his knowledge, but I have to ask him a few questions. If Egypt is right here, and Israel is right here, how is Israel Western philosophy? It's because they're playing now. Now ask yourself, why does Ashra-Kwesi go around fighting nothing but Hebrew Israelites or people who follow the Bible? Why all of a sudden in our communities, people who used to get along together no longer get along because they're disputing doctrines? And then you bring it to Africa and you misread the pyramid text and you tell them, oh, you show them a boat that's the size of from here to here and say, here go your Noah's Ark, people. That we got our text from them. But it's deceitful. So if we want to get an understanding of what color are people, let's go into our Afrocentric historians. Now one of the books in European historians, they'll tell you too. But one of the books is by Gerald Massey, and it's in Egypt's Light of the World. You probably had that book. My brother probably had that book. It states the Hebrews were black, and they migrated to northern Africa. All right? It's in the history books. Abraham's ancestors were from Sumer. Sumer were known as the Blackheads. All right? Also, according to Josephus, which is a biblical historian, who the Greeks paid and kept him around because they wanted to learn ancient history of Israel. Says that the word Africa comes from the Hebrew word, or the word of Abraham's son, or friend. And also could be from Ephraim, the I-feared part. Because at the time later on, Israel ruled kingdoms all throughout Africa. The Bible classified Ethiopian and Jews together in the book, in the Bible. Amos says in the 6th chapter, it says, "Are ye not as the children of Ethiopia unto me, O children of Israel?" But then when you read this, the European Jews say, "Oh, you're wicked like Ethiopia." But that's their doctrination of what they want us to believe. But we know it to be that Ethiopia was the father of civilization, and we love Ethiopia. You're going to see it in the scriptures. And I'm going to show you why they removed this stuff. Why they're attacking the Bible. Because the Bible is the only connection with Egypt and Sumer being black.
May I ask a question?
Yes, sir.
With Africa, the name they called Africa, wasn't the name Kush before that?
It was called Kush. It was called part of it was called Kemet. It was known by different names. Abyssian from Habasan. It was known by a lot of different names, and we'll get into that. We'll get into that also. All right. Here go a Roman historian. Give me a second. A Roman historian named Tacitus, right? Now, Tacitus says that the Hebrews have to be of Ethiopian origin. Why is he saying that? Because Hebrews were what? Dark. We're not talking about no mixed mulatto breed, how they be trying to tell you. The Romans are telling you the Hebrews got to be from Ethiopia. They black as can be. Okay? If you don't believe me, believe Sheikh Atidia, one of the fathers of Egyptologists. This man won a Nobel Peace Prize. He flew in, they didn't let him barely get off the plane. They handed it to him, sent him right back on the plane. But this is a brother, a French brother, who broke down to show that all the pharaohs were black. He broke down the science of ancient Egypt. But he's even showing you in his books, he says, he points out that the Semitic tribe became big from the crossbreeding with the blacks in the Holy Land. What he said, the blacks in the Holy Land? Did he say the Holy Land? Yeah. Did he say blacks? Now this is Sheikh Atidia now. And he's revered by all people. Not only that, Sheikh Atidia, and I think it's in the book of Now Civilization, he says that the Moors come from Yemen. You know what Hebrew Israelites went to Yemen? The children of Ephraim. So that's how you get it. When you look at the Moorish history, you say, well, that's Arabic. Yes, it's Arabic because Israelites were being oppressed, and they had to find some way to fit in. And only people that would take them were the Moors. The Arabs didn't like the blacks. They suppressed the blacks. But we're not even talking about Arabs as you see them today. Yeah, we're talking about dark-skinned Arabs. Because if you look at Arabs, they come from Ishmael, they come from Midian, they come from a mixture of people. But guess what? We look at Hagar. Hagar is from what? Egypt. Arabs is a mixture between Hebrews and Egyptians. That's where you get the word Elel, which is the root word of Arab, means a mixture. They was a mixture of a group of people. According to massive amount of historians, we can go through all of these books. The blacks that are in America are the Shemitic Hebrews. Any book, Dr. Ben will tell you that, who is now an Egyptologist but formerly was a Hebrew, but still sticks to his convention that the people over here are Shemitic. Also, when you read in the scriptures, you read in Exodus 2:19, it said Moses was mistaken to be an Egyptian. What Moses looked like then? What? But see, they got whitewashing inside of the pyramids, and in fact, they erased Sumer, and we're going to touch that too. Okay.
When you speak of the blacks that came here, were Semitic, who came here, and you mention America, right? Do you mean the continent of America, or just the United States of America?
I mean the continent of America.
Okay.
I mean the continent of America. All throughout the South America, the tribes, all the tribes, they're Hebrews, and they connect with Hebrews. You can find it in many books. And one of the books, I'm trying to figure out his name. But they was written by many historians that if you look online and go to Hebrews in America before 1500, and that'll give you a clear picture, it'll show you all the Hebrew artifacts that are there. But the reason why they dumb down the Hebrew artifacts is because the Smithsonian rejects the Hebrew artifacts, because if Manifest Destiny only allowed them to move westward if they were conquering the uncivilized people. Now, if these uncivilized people had writings and documents, then America was not going to be given the right by Europe to conquer westward. So what they do, the Smithsonian rejects anything that has Hebrew or hieroglyphs. They push it away. They ask you not to bring it back because it means that America has stolen this country and took it under a false premises, which they did. All right. Daniel 7:9, when it describes the man of ancient times on the throne, it talks about wool hair. Psalms 1:5, it says, "But I am black and comely." Also in the Talmud, there was a rabbi called Eleazar, and he said Shem, the son of Noah, is black and beautiful. So the Talmud is Jewish. The rabbis tell you that Shem is black and beautiful. And don't get twisted, rabbi's name is a Hebrew word, and it's also a Sumerian word for master. So when we look at it, we look at our scholars and our teachers. In 1947, at the UN, the United Nations, when they tried to give the land over to the Europeans, in 1947 they tried to put the European Jews inside of the land of Israel. One of the princes, his name is Gamal Abdul Nasser, stood up and said, how did you leave here black and come back white? That was his big question. The whole UN just backed up like, wow. And the point is to prove that we are that people. If the Holocaust happened in Germany, and you oppress Jews in Germany, then give them land in Germany. Why are you giving them land in Israel? And why is it so important to cover up the people of the Bible's color? If the Bible isn't important. If the scriptures isn't important. And see, many people come to us, oh, the Bible has so many contradictions. I tell you this, there's the Nevi'im, the prophecies, there's the Torah, and there's the Ketuvim. The Ketuvim is not considered holy. It is just considered writings. So when you get Kings and Chronicles, you can have apparent contradictions because Kings and Chronicles are a collection of articles from different times. Kings is from the Kings is copies from northern Israel. Chronicles is copies from Judah. So when they say 30,000 left or 31,000 left, you get small differences or discrepancies like that, which is common in historical writings. But when you look at the contradictions between the New Testament and the Old Testament, we're not in that because we do not follow the New Testament.
That's right.
We follow the Tanakh. Now, in Germany, Hitler went off to kill all of these Jews for some reason, right? And the reason why I'm touching on what our color is because they're saying we are teaching Western philosophy. One hand they say we teaching Western philosophy, and in the next minute they're saying 98% of the Bible is from Egypt.
Yeah, that's real. Yeah.
So you don't want me to follow something because you say contradictions, but your word is bringing forth contradictions. Your mouth is bringing forth contradictions. The reason why Hitler killed off the Jews is because